Wishmar horror story. The night it began, the storm didn't feel natural. Rain didn't fall. It stabbed. Wind didn't howl. It whispered names. And when Emma Clarkson's car broke down along the lonely stretch of Route 9, she knew the woods weren't silent. They were listening. She was on her way back from her mother's funeral, a single-lane drive through nowhere, miles away from help. She had taken the old road despite warnings from the gas station clerk. "Avoid the woods past Miller's Creek," he'd said. "They've been wrong since the fire." Emma hadn't believed in curses. She believed in bad luck. But as she stepped out into the rain, phone dead and engine silent, bad luck didn't explain the soft tapping sound that came from the trees. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't the rain. It was rhythmic, deliberate. Tap, 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 like someone knocking from inside a hollow trunk. She grabbed her flashlight and aimed it toward the sound. Branches swayed, but something darker moved beneath them. A shape. Then the light caught it, a small wooden box, resting neatly at the base of a tree. It looked handmade, carved with strange swirling runes and small, childlike letters burned into the lid. One word stood out. Wish. Emma hesitated. "Someone's prank," she muttered, kneeling in the mud. Her fingers brushed against the box. It was ice cold, unnaturally cold, like touching metal in winter. The tapping stopped, and then, for a moment, she heard something else, a faint whisper. It came not from the forest, but from the box itself. "Go on," it said. "Ask." She stumbled back, heart pounding. The flashlight flickered once, then died. Darkness swallowed her whole. When she turned the light back on, the box was gone, but the mud beneath her hands was disturbed, and something small had been pushed into her palm, a wooden coin carved with the same rune. On one side, the symbol for wish. On the other, her mother's initials. By the time she made it to the nearest motel, Emma was drenched, shivering, and half convinced she had hallucinated everything. The clerk handed her a key without looking up. "Room 13. You'll have company tonight," he said absently. "Excuse me?" But he was already gone, or maybe he never moved. She couldn't remember seeing his face clearly. In her room, she set the coin on the nightstand beside her phone. As she dried her hair, the phone buzzed, even though it had no signal. A notification blinked across the cracked screen. "Make your wish." Her hand froze. Then, beneath the message, words typed themselves one by one, as though an invisible hand pressed the keys. One wish, one cost, one chance. Emma's throat went dry. Without realizing it, she whispered, "I just want one more day with my mom." The phone dimmed. The text faded. Then silence. Until 3:17 a.m. That's when the knocking started again. Tap, tap, tap. From the closet door this time, Emma's breath caught in her chest. "Who's there?" No answer. Just a faint sound. Something sliding across the floorboards. Then slowly, the door creaked open. Inside wasn't clothes or hangers. It was talking fog. Thick, cold, unnatural fog spilling into the room like smoke. And from that fog, a voice. "Emma?" Her heart stopped, because she knew that voice. It was her mother's. When Emma reached toward the mist, it was warm, familiar. Then a hand, soft, human, gripped hers from within. "Mom." The hand tightened painfully. "You wished for me," the voice whispered. "Now I'm here." The fog began to swirl violently, pulling Emma closer. Her phone fell to the ground, screen glowing faintly. New words appeared. "Wish granted." The lights flickered, then went out. When morning came, the motel room was empty. The clerk, staring at the surveillance feed, saw her enter room 13 but never leave. Instead, at exactly 3:17 a.m., the camera glitched. For half a second figure stood beside her bed, an older woman in a funeral dress, smiling directly at the lens. And then the image warped, as if the camera itself refused to record what came next. That day, a new guest checked into room 13. They found a small box sitting neatly on the nightstand. Carved into the lid were the words, "Wish." Rain had stopped by the time Mum Noah Palmer pulled into the Miller's Creek Motel. He wasn't supposed to be here, and he was just looking for somewhere cheap to crash on his way to a construction job 3 towns over. The neon sign flickered erratically above him. Miller's Creek Motel, vacancy, vacancy. That word would later feel like a curse. Inside, the air smelled of bleach and damp wood. The old man behind the counter barely looked up from his ledger. His face seemed carved from candle wax, pale, drooping, faintly translucent under the flickering bulb. "Room 13's open," he said in a voice like gravel. "Lucky number." Noah hesitated. "I'll take it, I guess." The key he received was rusted, its tag splintered around the engraved number. 13. As he walked down the corridor, the air seemed to grow heavier, denser. The hum of the overhead light dimmed, stretching into a low, vibrating tone. Then he stopped. Someone had carved something into the door. One word. "Wish." He frowned. "Teenagers," he muttered, unlocking it. Inside, the room looked ordinary, except for a small wooden box sitting on the nightstand, the same kind of box Emma Clarkson had found. The first night, nothing strange happened, just a bad dream. He dreamed of a woman in a black veil, whispering into his ear, but her words came backward, looping phrases he couldn't understand. When he woke, the box was open. Inside was a coin. One side was blank, the other read, "One wish." He picked it up. The coin was warm, almost alive. Then his phone buzzed. Unknown number. "Do you want to make it?" Noah froze. "Who is this?" No reply then. "Say it out loud." He tried to laugh it off. Maybe the motel clerk was messing with him. But something deep in his chest felt hollow. He thought of his wife. Claire. The one who'd died 6 months ago in a highway accident. Her face flashed before him. The laugh, the smell of her hair, the way she'd whispered, "I'll wait for you," before the line went dead. The air in the room grew thick. His ears popped as if he were underwater. He whispered, half drunk, half broken, "I wish I could see her again." Then the light bulb above his head exploded. When Noah woke up, sunlight streamed through the blinds. The box was gone. The coin was gone. He almost convinced himself it was all a dream, until he saw her. Reflection in the bathroom mirror. She was standing behind him, smiling. Her skin was gray, wet like something pulled from a river. Her hair clung to her face. "Dripping, Claire," he whispered. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Only a faint click, 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 like someone turning a dial on an old radio. Then the mirror fogged over, and a message appeared in dripping condensation. One day, Noah turned, but she was gone. That night, he drove home. He didn't remember packing. He didn't remember checking out, but the box was in the passenger seat. Every time he looked away, it seemed to shift, closer. By the time he reached his house, the box sat squarely on his lap. He threw it into the trash. He burned the trash. The next morning, it was on his porch, clean and whole again. Day 1 was bliss. Claire was there. She smelled of lavender again, not rot. She smiled and spoke softly, asking him about work, about dinner, about their old songs. But her eyes were wrong. When she smiled, they didn't move. Day 2. He woke to find her staring at him from the foot of the bed. Her hands twitched in slow, jerking spasms. When he asked what was wrong, she whispered, "You only get one day." And then, like glass cracking, her skin began to peel. Beneath it, not blood, not bone, but the same wooden grain as the box. The next morning, Noah's neighbors found his car parked outside his home. The windows were fogged from the inside. He was sitting in the driver's seat, smiling. On his dashboard rested a small wooden coin. It read, "Wish complete." And when police entered the house, every mirror was covered, except one. In the hallway mirror, next to the reflection of the responding officer, was a faint outline of a woman smiling, holding a small box. The footage from the officer's body cam glitched every time her reflection appeared. Back at the motel, the clerk adjusted his tie and checked the logbook. 2 names were crossed off. He smiled faintly. His eyes reflected the word Wishindato across the glass of the front desk. "Room 13's open again," he murmured. Next, the storms returned that weekend. Thick black clouds rolled across the sky like bruises swallowing the moon. Wind scraped the old highway signs until they screamed. At the far edge of town, a young journalist named Mara Evans pulled over at a gas station. Her windshield wipers fought uselessly against the rain. She wasn't here for gas. She was here for the story. For 3 weeks, she'd been chasing reports of wish boxes, small wooden containers left behind after a string of suicides. Victims smiled in every photograph. Some were found clutching coins that read, "Wish complete." The last known sighting of the box had been at Miller's Creek Motel. When Mara arrived, the parking lot was empty except for a single flickering sign. The glass door groaned when she pushed it open. "Evening," said the old clerk without looking up. "Room 13's open." Mara froze. "Did you say 13? He smiled without teeth. Lucky number. Her recorder captured every syllable. The air around her felt wrong, thick with humidity, carrying the faint scent of burnt cedar. As she climbed the narrow stairs, the walls seemed to pulse with her heartbeat. Somewhere far, down the corridor, a door creaked open and shut again by itself. When she reached room 13, she found the door ajar. Inside, everything was neat. Bed made, lamp glowing softly, a mirror hanging opposite the window. On the nightstand sat the rare box. Mara's breath hitched. It was smaller than she expected. Its surface scorched around the edges, as though it had been through a fire. She set up her camera, documenting every angle. When she reached to touch the lid, a sound came from behind her. Click, click, click. She spun around. No one. The sound came again, slow, deliberate, like someone turning a dial. The television switched on by itself. Static filled the screen, and through the fuzz, a voice whispered, "Make your wish." Her knees trembled. She whispered, "Who are you?" "Make your wish." The box began to vibrate. A hairline crack appeared on its surface, glowing faintly red from within. She pulled her hand away. "No, I'm not playing this game." The voice dropped to a growl. "They all say that." Mara dove for her notes, flipping through old newspaper clippings. The earliest case dated back to 1870. A woodcarver named Jonas Varon, executed for murdering his wife and 2 children. Legend said he'd made a box out of their coffins. He called it his maker's box. Those who touched it were said to see their deepest desire come true for a price. She read aloud, "The soul of the carver is bound to the wish until balance is paid." The lamp flickered. A shadow fell across her notes. When she looked up, a man had stood in the mirror. He wore a blood-stained apron. His eyes were black holes. His mouth, when it opened, stretched far too wide. "Balance," he croaked. "Always balance." The mirror cracked, splitting his image into dozens of jagged fragments. From each shard, a faint whisper echoed. "Wish, wish, wish." Mara screamed and stumbled back against the bed. The box slid toward her, as if pulled by invisible strings. Her camera caught everything: the shaking hands, the distorted voice, the mirror bleeding light. The lid flipped open. Inside was a single blank coin. She knew what it meant. She'd seen the photographs. She'd heard the recordings, but she couldn't stop thinking about her sister, Lena, who'd drowned the year before. The whisper came again. "One wish." Mara pressed her palms to her ears. "No, no, 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 no." Her sister's voice cut through the static, soft, childlike. "Mara, it's so dark here. Please help me." Mara's tears hit the wood. "I wish you were home." Thunder detonated. Outside, when she opened her eyes, the room was quiet. The box was gone. The mirror was whole again, and someone was humming in the bathroom. Lena. Water dripped steadily onto the tile. Mara stepped inside. and froze. Her sister stood there, hair dripping, skin blue. She smiled. "You brought me back." The reflection in the mirror, however, was not smiling. It glared at Mara, its mouth twisting into a grimace of pain. "Lena," Mara whispered, backing away. "You're not real." The reflection began to peel itself from the mirror, glass bending like rubber as the thing inside stepped out. "Balance," it rasped, voice overlapping with Jonas Farron's. "One life for one wish." Mara ran, slamming the door behind her. She fled down the hallway, the walls pulsing and breathing. Every door she passed bore the same word carved into the wood: wish. At the stairwell, the clerk was waiting, eyes glowing faintly red. "Leaving already?" he asked softly. "Let me go." He smiled. "You made a wish." Behind her, footsteps splashed across the floor, slow, wet, and deliberate. Lena's voice echoed down the hall, overlapping with dozens of others. "Thank you for bringing me home." Mara's camera fell from her hand. The last frame recorded the clerk turning toward her, face peeling like wet paper, to reveal the wood-grain texture beneath. 3 days later, police found Mara's car abandoned near the motel. Inside were her notes and a blood-smeared recorder repeating the same distorted phrase: "Room 13, make a wish." The motel had burned down to its foundation that night. Firefighters swore they heard voices in the smoke. Yet weeks later, a new motel sign appeared at the same spot. Fresh paint, fresh windows, and in the lobby glass, faintly etched. At the bottom corner, the reflection of a man in a carpenter's apron smiled and whispered, "Room 13's open again."